I think I accidentally took my math teacher's notebook home, and what I found inside made my heart drop. My name is Alina, and I'm a junior in high school. I know this might sound weird, but I think I have a crush on my math teacher. It didn't start like that, though. At the beginning of the school year, math was just math. Numbers, formulas, tests. I wasn't bad at it, but it was never my favorite subject either. Then we got a new teacher. The first twist is that he didn't look like a typical math teacher at all. He was younger than most teachers, calm, and the way he explained things actually made sense. For the first time in my life, I was raising my hand in math class. At first, I told myself I just liked the subject more, but then something happened. One day, he gave the class a really difficult problem. Everyone was stuck. The room was completely silent. Then he looked around and said, "Someone try it on the board." For some reason, he looked directly at me. I walked up, hands shaking a little, and somehow solved it. When I finished, he just smiled and said, "Good work, Alina." That's it, 2 words. But here's the twist. After that moment, I started caring way more about math than I ever had before. I started staying after class sometimes, asking questions I probably could have figured out myself, and every time he'd patiently explain things again. Nothing weird ever happened, which is exactly why it started feeling weird to me, because the next twist came a few weeks later. I was in the library after school finishing homework when one of my friends came up to me and said, "Why does our math teacher always call on you?" I laughed it off, but that question stuck in my head. I started noticing things I hadn't before, like how sometimes when he asked a question, his eyes would scan the class and stop on me for just a second longer. Or how when I stayed after class, he never seemed rushed to leave. Still, I told myself I was probably imagining everything. Until last Friday. That day, everyone left the classroom early because there was a school assembly. I forgot my notebook and went back to grab it. When I walked into the classroom, he was still there at his desk, grading papers. He looked up and said, "Hey, Alina, forgot something?" I nodded and grabbed my notebook. I was about to leave when he said something that completely caught me off guard. "By the way, your last test score was the highest in the class." I turned around and said, "Really?" He nodded. Then he said something that's been stuck in my head ever since. "You know, you're a lot more confident than you think." It was such a simple comment, but the way he said it felt different. I didn't know what to say, so I just said thanks and walked out. And honestly, I thought that was the end of the story. But the real twist happened later that night, because when I opened my backpack to start my homework, I realized something. The notebook I picked up in that classroom wasn't mine, and inside the front page, written in small handwriting, was a single sentence that made my heart drop. But what that sentence said is a whole different story.